And you also, when I say medicine, everything from antibiotics to how to do field expedient surgery, pain medication if you need it, everything you would need to sustain yourself if.
You're building a bunker out there in Wyoming?
The rule to Fight Club is you never talk about Fight Club. Right? So if you're building a bunker, you don't tell people because then everybody knows where to go when everything goes south. So, it would be remiss of me to not say that. Yeah, I think people look. Being prepared is not a bad thing. Now, being paranoid, maybe.
A bunker feels a little paranoid, Lou.
Well, look, there's an old saying, right? Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you.
What is a bunker? Wait, I mean, we hear all about these billionaire bunkers. Last I checked, though, the Pentagon doesn't pay billionaire contracts to its employees.
No, it does not.
So what does your bunker look like? Allegedly.
Allegedly. So here, how about this? Let's say in general terms, if you want a bunker, and by the way, it's not just for, end of the world situations. It could be for things environmental, like even tornadoes, right? We have a lot of tornadoes out in Wyoming. So, people who live in Florida will say, yeah, we have these hurricanes, winds get to 110, category 1, category 2 storm, maybe once every 10, 15 years in Florida. This is like almost every other week where I live in Wyoming. We have winds. It's not uncommon to have a 90-mile-an-hour wind or 100-mile-an-hour gust of wind. So homes have to be built a certain way. They just will not survive the environment. So if you have, for example, a tornado rolling through, maybe you want to use the bunker for that, just in case, right? So a lot of people out there in Wyoming are there for several reasons. A lot of people just want to disappear. And out in Wyoming, we're a constitutional state, so you can build whatever you want on your property. And so, yeah, people build bunkers. And typically what you want in there is enough rations and food and water, right, that can sustain you for a prolonged period of time. Now, how long that is depends on the size of your bunker and whatnot. You also need ventilation. People think, I'm just going to seal myself underground. Well, you just built a coffin. Congratulations. It's not going to do you very much good. You also want medicine. And you also, when I say medicine, everything from antibiotics to how to do field expedient surgery, pain medication if you need it, everything you would need to sustain yourself if you didn't have any type of medical resource or communications or food or any other type of logistics, you have to be able to survive by yourself. And now, if you go back 100 years, in human history, most people knew how to do that automatically. They were, scratching out a living on the land and whatnot if they were living in a rural community, and it's not a big deal. But nowadays, a lot of people have forgot, what it takes to survive a situation.
They're too busy tweeting.
Yeah, and other things, and I think some of these skill sets have been lost. How do you tie a tourniquet? When do you tie a tourniquet, right? Under what circumstances? Look, we've got snakes out there. It's people can get bit by rattlesnakes. What do you do, right? Let's say it's 11 o'clock at night. You're walking out to your horse stable barn and you get bit. A hospital might be 40, 50 miles away.
50 miles away?
Yeah, not in my case, but in some cases, yeah. People live off the grid way out there. So what are you going to do? And if there's a snowstorm, ambulance can't get there. So
do they even have cops out there?
We do. Actually, you know what? I got to tell you, Julian, I got a buddy of mine. He was a cop in Baltimore when I was still fed. And long story short, we went out to Wyoming a few years later, and he was there. We met him there, and he retired immediately after coming out to Wyoming, and is now the chief of police in my small hometown. Super guy. And this is
Baltimore to Wyoming.
Yeah. Right. Talk about a change, right?
Yeah.
Some may argue that it's, maybe not as exciting, but you've probably extended your lifespan a little bit.
Yeah. I guess you go from like street drug stops to like potential, I don't know, oligarch families building bunkers under the ground. Not you, but other people doing crazy out there in the wilderness.
Look, they call it God's country for a reason. It is really amazing. You have Yellowstone, you have Devil's Tower out there, you've got the Crow Nation out there, you've got these beautiful, beautiful mountain ranges that are just stunning. Everything you would have, like, for example, if you're a skier, we've got ski resorts pretty much in all the mountain towns. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's cheap. It's not expensive. and it's a constitutional state, and our crime rate's low, and people are actually friendly there. People will say, well, Wyoming it's not very diverse, is it? How do you feel as a Cuban? I'm like, look, guys, we are the state literally of black cowboys and white rappers. So we are extremely diverse. It's I think people have a misnomer about what Wyoming is about. It's a wonderful, wonderful place. I will never leave that place. Yes, I might wind up traveling a lot, but
never.
Brother, it's incredible. Come on out. You'll see it.
I will, but I'm just saying, you say never like you're not angling for a little DCer job in the new administration. I'm just saying, I don't know if you're building a bunker in DC. It's got to be a little harder there, more regulations.
Well, we call that the Pentagon, actually. It's a great place to be. If you guys ever want to come out, it really is. Sometimes people come out and visit me, and it hasn't been only one time someone has actually bought property after visiting us.
I've heard people go out there and they fall in love and they don't want to leave. I've heard that story. Wyoming, Montana, all these different places, and I've never been, but you just see the pictures and how grand and beautiful it is, especially in like the post-COVID era and everything, where people are like, let me. The city. It's
not uncommon to go through a drive-through and see two people on a horseback going through the drive-through.
Wow.
And ordering, that's right.
Some next level right there.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, wow, we are not in Kansas anymore, right? No pun intended.
Yeah. And you got a bar downstairs too, you're showing us.
I do. Those winters get cold, right? So, you need something to keep you warm at night. I made the mistake a long time ago I had every crap job you can imagine growing up as a kid. So every job that nobody wanted to do, I did. So whether it's construction and roofing and HVAC and bouncer and, whatever, every crap job you could have, I had it. And so I made the mistake when I first met my wife, letting her know that, it was a little handy. I could do plumbing and electrical. And so now anytime anything needs to be done, I get stuck doing it. And so
that's how it goes.
Yeah. So my wife was like, I'd love an Irish bar down here in the basement.
Oh, it was your wife's idea.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, that would be great. She's
Jen
like,
partying up in here.
You know what? She, it really turned out really nice and turned out really bougie. And some friends of ours took the idea and decided to create an English pub in their entire basement. So I have like one room that's a bar. A buddy of mine he actually runs security for me, actually turned the entire half of his basement into he's got like a dart alley. He's got these secret door, like a speakeasy. It is the coolest thing. It's awesome. All done in English Tudor style. And he did it himself, right? So that's the one thing about Wyoming. If you want to get work done out there, unless you live in Jackson, you might have to wait a while to get, some talent to come in to do specialized work. So you're kind of stuck doing it yourself. I built an Irish pub in our basement.
Yeah, we're going to have to check that out at some point. Yeah. But I don't want to get off the buried lead here about the move back east to D.C. What is happening? We got a new administration in here. Yeah. Apparently, allegedly, they're taking the whole threat in our skies thing a little more seriously than, say, some past administrations, including, I guess, the past one that Trump had. Yeah. So what's going on? I know you don't want to reveal all the behind-the-scenes things because I know there's some professional aspects of that. But, are you getting a role here? What are we doing?
Look, first of all, if my country asks me to serve, again, I will. Those decisions aren't mine to make. Are there people out there that might be more qualified than me to assume certain roles? I hope so. Yeah, I'll go work for them. I have no problem doing that. There are people in this new administration that are much, much more proactive on this topic of UAP and air domain awareness. If there's one thing I've been trying to tell people for the last 7 years, UAP aside, we have no clue what's in our skies. Mm-hmm. We don't. And we just saw a horrible, horrible tragedy, 2 of them. One possibly because we did not have complete air domain awareness. You had a helicopter crashing with a little regional jet, and we lost a lot of lives because of it. Right, so that's problematic. We simply do not know everything that's in our skies, whether it's drones and Chinese balloons or UAP or even helicopters. So we need to do something.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.